Hello everyone and welcome to a very special video. Today we're going to be recapping the first 3 issues of Batman Fortnite 0 Point. The story starts in Gotham City, where a tear in reality has opened in the sky. Batman decides to grapple over to get a closer look. Harley Quinn is on the roof, complaining that somebody went through the rift already and started without her. Batman tells her to get away from it, but she shoots at him, claiming to know what it is. Batman dodges a swing from her bat, but takes a knee to the face. And Harley jumps into the rift before answering any of his questions. Batman stays on the roof and scans the anomaly with one of his many devices, and he learns that it's not even from his universe, as a mysterious figure swings in and kicks him into the rift. Batman wakes up in an unfamiliar place with no idea how he got there. He is now on the Fortnite island, and when he sees the storm coming, he's smart enough to run away. He thinks it's odd that the storm's still raging but seems to have stopped moving. Nothing natural behaves this way. He believes it may be externally controlled, and that would take a lot of power. As he makes his way north and away from Camp Cod, he's ambushed by Ruckus. They fight for a moment, but when Batman tries to interrogate him, he realises he can't talk. Ruckus manages to kick Batman into the river. Batman tries to use sign language to introduce himself, but realises he doesn't know who he is either. He and Ruckus continue to fight until Batman sees a boat coming around the corner. Batman manages to grapple Ruckus to the boat, and the boat drags him upstream and away from Batman. Batman realises he remembers how to fight and how to use weapons, but pretty much nothing else. Batman gets to higher ground to get a better view of the island when he sees someone aiming at him with a sniper scope. He manages to dodge the bullet just in time. It tumbles down to the ground below, where about 20 Fortnite characters are all fighting it out for the victory royale. Batman thinks he's gone mad and that this is an asylum, until he realises it's too disorganised and some of these people can't be human. He nearly gets shot by Tomato Head, but someone saves him by pulling the gun away with a whip. He looks around and sees Catwoman. He doesn't remember Catwoman, but he feels like he knows her. She doesn't seem to know why she just saved his life. He feels like they fought together before, and he thinks she feels it too. He wonders if they could have been partners or colleagues or friends, maybe even lovers, as their hands touch. Just as it looks like they're going to win, the storm closes in, and the others see it too, but they don't seem to care. Batman kicks Midas in the face and they end the fight, but it doesn't matter. He wants to find some way out, but there isn't one. He thinks they're going to die, and he thinks she knows it too. He wishes he could remember her and he wishes they had more time, but they don't. There's just this moment before the end. And that's the end of issue 1. In issue 2, Batman wakes up in what appears to be Weeping Woods. He still doesn't know who he is, but apparently he planned for that this time. He has notes to himself written all over his armour. If you've ever seen the movie Memento, it's kinda like that. Batman wonders how long he's been here. He learns from his notes that he seems to be stuck in a 22-minute time loop, where everything alive resets, including his memory. But before he can get much further, he's once again attacked by Ruckus. This time he deals with Ruckus quite quickly, knocking him out with a knee to the face, before running off to find his Bat Shack. He realises he's been here a while, and it would take more than 22 minutes to read all the notes he's left for himself, and decides to look at just the most recent. He finds a note to himself that says the cat is a friend with some coordinates, and he thinks to himself that everyone seems to have a theme. When Batman arrives at the coordinates, he begins looking for anyone who fits the description, but the first cat he sees is Meowscles. However, he soon realises that this is not the cat he's looking for. When he sees Catwoman scratch Bright Bomber, he somehow just knows that it's her. He helps her deal with Meowscles, but this time she doesn't trust him, and she attacks him. As they fight, the storm closes in, and Batman realises it feels like it's been about 20 minutes since he woke. He quickly grabs a Batarang and writes another note. This time it's for Catwoman, and it says the bat is a friend. She takes the Batarang, and Batman hopes that this hasn't all been a waste. In the next loop, as Batman leaves the Bat Shack to go find the cat, she finds him. They don't entirely trust each other, but they know they need to work together. They take a boat and go all the way to the edge of the map, facing the storm far sooner than necessary, basically just to see what will happen. But Batman thinks that it's nice not to be alone at a moment like this. In the next loop, they're exploring the bottom of a lake. hoping to find evidence that the whole island is artificial. He's surprised at how well they're working together, considering they've only really known each other a matter of minutes. Maybe their memories are wiped, but feelings carry over, when suddenly Catwoman takes a bullet for Batman. He tries to tell himself that she'll be back in the next loop, but none of it matters to him in that moment. He just wants them to suffer. He was right. Feelings do carry over. In the next loop, Batman suggests they go to the top of Steamy Stacks, but he's not really sure why. But it's not like they got nothing done, as Batman has managed to rig a timer, so they now know exactly how long they have left in each loop, when suddenly their attention is drawn to the fighting down below. There is Harley Quinn. Batman doesn't really know why or how, but she seems familiar to him, so they go down to get a closer look. He thinks it might be worth finding another ally, but when he sees her flossing, he realises that as she's embraced the dancing, she's probably too far gone. He makes another note on a batarang, and then quickly deals with Brutus so he can jump down and try to communicate with her, but she tries to fight him off. He shows her the note that says, "This is a trap, help us find a way out," but she's not interested, and the storm closes in. This is when Batman makes the connection that the storm closes in on itself just as the time loop ends. In the next loop, he's looking at his calculations about the storm circles. He's realised that the storm's centre is in a different place each loop, and he knows that must be significant in a place where everything always stays the same. Based on his data, this loop is Lazy Lake. He thinks the cat's annoyed, she doesn't understand what he's doing, but then she takes one of the gadgets from his utility belt. She's a step ahead of him. She places it at the exact centre. It's delicate, easily damaged, and most importantly, not native to this place. He writes himself a note reminding himself where it is so they can go back to that exact point in the next loop. And sure enough, there it is. This means that the centre of the storm is special. The question is, what happens to a person or people at the centre when the storm closes in? They go to find the very centre of the safe zone, because there's only one way to find out. Only thing remaining is to wait, together, as they stare into each other's eyes, and the loop comes to a close. In the next loop, Batman now knows that their plan didn't work, and his new hypothesis is that only one of them can survive. He tells Catwoman to stay there and goes into the storm on his own. He's in agony. It's tearing at him, killing him, but he's got to take it and ignore all his body's survival instincts. He's dying too slowly and he's not sure it's going to happen before the loop ends. But he looks up at Catwoman and he sees a shimmering glow around her, and he knows it means something. He makes another note that there can only be one left. In the next loop, they're just hiding, discussing a disagreement. They know that there can only be one, and their disagreement is over who it will be. He insists it has to be her to get out, because the one left behind might not remember to follow the other. He argues that he's more analytical, while she's more impulsive. When she reads this, she scratches him, proving him right. They don't remember their past battles, but it feels like this has been good. This break. Even if they don't recall it, they needed it. Next time will be different. This time the final safe zone is at Coral Castle, and they fight their way through the last of the island's inhabitants and get to the centre. Catwoman has a knife, but she doesn't want to use it on Batman. He knows he has to die quickly in order for her to be the last one left, and they've only got about 30 seconds left on the timer. They kiss, and she stabs him. As he dies, he sees that glow again, this time brighter than ever. And the storm claims him, and she escapes. In the next loop, he wakes up back at Weeping Woods. He doesn't know where he is, and he doesn't know who he is, but he does feel like there was something he had to remember. But he's immediately distracted by another fight with Ruckus, and that's the end of issue 2. In issue 3, there is an immediately noticeable change to the way the story is presented. The dialogue is no longer Batman's thoughts. It is now an outside observer's messages to other people in their office. The first one reads, "Inter-office memo, from loop observation to PSYOPs. Subject, I'm worried about the Batman." Since Catwoman escaped the loop, Batman has displayed a single-minded determination to follow her, bordering on mania. He builds himself a new weapon to give himself an advantage, and the Observer is worried about the rate at which he is improving. The Observer knows it's impossible to wipe a subject's emotional memory completely, but he was hoping they could maybe adjust the settings. He realises that Batman is a special case, and they'll be reluctant to do anything that might dull his edge, or otherwise interfere with their agenda for him. They knew Batman was going to escape the loop, They just didn't count on him doing it so quickly, and it seems like he's going to escape the loop before they're ready for him, and they need a way to slow him down. If they can't erase his emotional memory, the observer wants acquisitions to approve a recommendation for something else. The next message is to acquisitions. Subject, thank you. He wants to thank them for moving so quickly in approving his plan. Suddenly, Batman is attacked by someone new. The observer wasn't initially sure this would work, but now, seeing them fight, early indications are that they're getting exactly what they need from Asset Snake Eyes. The observer notes that they are perfectly matched, and that they both use a staggering mix of fighting styles that have never been seen before in these particular combinations. And watching them fight is like watching the finest artists working together to create a masterpiece. The observer says that in other circumstances their talents would worry them. Given time, they'd definitely figure out that they're being manipulated and uncover all sorts of things they'd rather they didn't. Luckily, every 22 minutes, the storm wipes the slate clean. The next message is to archives, and the subject is, has this ever happened? The observer says that something is occurring in relation to the encounters between Asset Batman and Asset Snake Eyes, and they want to know if beings with no memory longer than 22 minutes could know how epic this fight is, because you see, they've all stopped fighting. Everyone in the loop seems to just be watching Batman and Snake Eyes battle it out, and the observer's never seen anything like it. The next message is to PSYOPs again, and the subject is emotional retention. While they wipe memories every 22 minutes, emotions carry over, which isn't usually a problem except for rare cases like Batman and Catwoman. But what they're wondering is this: is respect an emotion? And Batman and Snake Eyes catch each other's throwables. Snake Eyes saves Batman from an ambush just so they can continue fighting. The observer wants to confirm that there's never been an example of beings from different origin points uniting for any significant duration. Just as he's sending this message, Snake Eyes slips off of a cliff, but Batman catches him. And finally, the two stop fighting and start communicating with sign language instead. The observer has no idea what these mean. It seems that Snake Eyes understands Batman's plan and sacrifices himself so Batman can escape the loop. The observer says that the tactic of pitting Asset Snake Eyes against Asset Batman was successful. It didn't buy them quite as much time as they'd liked, but it bought them enough. The final message is to extra loop observation. Be advised that Asset Batman is inbound. With Batman finally out of the loop, he hears a voice for the first time in God knows how long. Don't do anything stupid. No sudden moves, or she's dead. Holding Catwoman hostage is Deathstroke. And that's the end of issue 3. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see a similar recap of issues 4 through 6, please let me know by leaving a like or a comment. Big thanks to Just Eat Cakes and Awakens and everyone else who helped out. I couldn't have done it without you guys. I really appreciate it. And remember, subscribe to the channel. See you next time.